from a sales perspective, the number one thing, know your opportunity to sale.
Okay.
Opportunities are tours, unique opportunities in a given, let's say, month. So
Yeah.
one person tours 3 times, that's one opportunity. If they toured first in January and then they toured again in June, it's an opportunity in June. So you need to know your opportunity to close ratio, right? And then, okay, if I need 6 move-ins and I'm converting at 1 out of 3, I need 18 opportunities this month. And
Yeah.
I will over time, meaning in any trend, I will get 5 to 7, about 6 move-ins. That's the first thing to focus on, unique opportunities. One thing to CRMs out there. And CRMs attract new lead.
Yeah.
They do new lead tour to deposit, and then they'll do worked leads. Work leads, even if I send you an email, it's a work lead. It's got to be opportunities, overall opportunities. That's number one.
Let's go.
Welcome to The Move-In, a senior living marketing podcast from Unlock Health, a full-service marketing partner for the aging services industry. Join us for candid conversations exploring the latest marketing strategies with the senior living community leaders and innovative solution partners who are moving our industry forward. Together, we'll build a community to build better communities. Have you ever wondered why senior living sales teams struggle to align with operations even when everyone shares the same goal? Hello, I'm Larry Williams, and welcome to the Move-In Senior Living Marketing powered by Unlock Health. This is the challenge many communities face. Marketing generates leads, sales chases conversions, and operations keeps the building running. But somewhere along the way, the communication breaks down. That gap doesn't just hurt internal morale, it impacts occupancy, revenue, and the resident experience. And today on The Move-In, I am joined by Julie Podewitz, industry veteran, founder of Grow Your Occupancy, and the author of Resolving the Occupancy Puzzle. And we're digging into how to bridge those silos, what meaningful leadership looks like in 2025, and how to build a sales culture rooted in empathy, data, and coaching. In this conversation, we dig into how to build the right infrastructure for sales success, how to bridge silos between sales, marketing, and operations, and how intentional coaching can turn your team from overwhelmed to unstoppable. So whether you're a sales director, executive director, marketer, or operator, this one's for you. Let's jump into it. We are on the move in senior living marketing. I have Julie Podewitz with me. And Julie, she's a familiar face in senior living sales and marketing. Julie, thank you for being on the podcast today.
It is my pleasure, Larry. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We got through the Father's Day weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I did. Got to celebrate time with my family. And one thing that I feel like I always enjoy chatting with you about is just, having, chatting about our daughters. Yeah. And I was just catching you up on my daughters and their ages and hearing about your daughter and what she's up to and, starting that first job, which is what we discussed while we were at SLEC, 2 months ago, 1 month ago?
Argentum. Argentum, where she just started her real world job. She graduated from college and started, I think it was the day that we were at Argentum.
Yeah. And so it's always good catching up with you. Now, one thing I'll tell you, and you don't remember this, is we first met at the Georgia Senior Living Conference. It was back at Savannah. And so I heard you speak at that conference. I was like, wow, I'm a big fan. I loved what you were speaking about. And we had a booth and you walked through and I had to introduce myself because, you're a celebrity in this space. And I was like, I got to take a moment to say hi to Julie. So
I remember that. It was very kind of you.
You're always great to chat with, always full of energy. And, you always have so much insight that you're looking to share with others. And at Argentum, I saw you in one session. Were you in another session that I didn't know about, or was it just that one?
This year led a panel. The focus, Larry, was acquisitions, successful acquisitions, specifically planning, right? The proper planning for successful, basically lease up that first 90 days.
Yeah,
So
it was really interesting. Who all was on that panel with you?
we had Francine Bass, United Group of
Hmm.
Communities, Christy Cunningham, Vitality Living,
Yeah,
and Stacy Lynn, Wickshire.
man,
Yeah.
cast of all stars right there.
Yes.
And you did such a great job of hosting that. So thank you for that. And something that you and I spoke about after that session was your new book. And that's why that because you wrote Solving the Occupancy Puzzle. Was that back in 2021?
Yes.
Awesome. And so you just recently came out with Resolving the
You
Occupancy
tell me. I
Puzzle.
have a copy here.
Look at it. See right
Oh my
there. And
gosh.
I purchased the book right after. And so next time I see you, I need to get that autographed if you don't mind.
Oh my gosh, that increases the value.
It
Yeah,
does.
at
I
least
might
10
sell it on
times.
eBay. You never know. So if I can make sure like it's authenticated, then I can sell it on eBay. But I love what you're doing here in this space. You continue to be like that beacon of that I say that North Star. I say that a lot on this podcast. We have so many like thought leaders in the space, and different people really provide that North Star on these, when it comes to thought leadership and senior living sales and marketing. And you're definitely that person when it comes to the sales side of things. So let me ask you this. Well, I don't know if I even formally introduced you. You were the founder and CEO of Grow Your Occupancy. We just jumped right into the conversation. So what led you to start Grow Your Occupancy? Let me start there. I think that might be a
Sure.
good start before we get into the book.
Yeah, well, we were talking about our daughters, and that's
Yes.
a priority. You have two, I have one, and they're
Hmm.
almost born almost the same day, one day apart. So
That's
we
right.
did get sidetracked on a most important topic.
That's right.
Secondly, second in my life after Ava and Jim is Grow Your Occupancy,
Hmm.
and I founded Grow Your Occupancy at the idea was in percolation creation for a while, officially November of 2021.
And what caused you to shift? Because you worked at Vitality Living before that, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I was this chief marketing officer and Vitality Living here in Brentwood, Tennessee. It's what brought my family and me here from Southwest Florida. Love Vitality. Love Vitality Living was the result of a merger of two
Gotcha.
smaller operating companies, and they had pieces, we had pieces merged together, and it was a really very successful merger. And at the time, I believe it was maybe maybe under 10 communities, and Grow Vitality is now very successful, mid 40s, I think.
Wow.
And Christy Cunningham heads
Yeah.
sales and marketing there now. And Vitality is a client of Grow Your Occupancy, very valued client. And what's really what I found, Larry, on operator side, and prior to that as VP of sales for profit and nonprofit, what it really excites me is where I'm skilled is building the infrastructure.
Hmm.
So putting the total infrastructure from the playbook, together, the rules of the road, right, and the workflow and how it all, everything that it takes to be successful now to sustain, but also to grow. So
Sure.
from the marketing, from digital marketing or the outreach, the hiring, and the onboarding and the ongoing coaching, the training, the ongoing coaching. And then another one of my passions and what the book really talks about is solving the occupancy puzzle. How my mind works, Larry, is okay, here's the outcome, right? And in sales and marketing, in sales, it's not enough move-ins. Backing
Hmm.
it up, it's not enough sales. I mean, that's the
Sure.
outcome, or enough sales. Sales is the outcome. So there are pieces, right, of that infrastructure that all fit, that create, that all fit
Hmm.
into the ultimate outcome.
Sure.
And I've been in a lot of board meetings and calls, and of course during COVID it was Zooms, and now it continues to be Zooms for my entire career in senior living, of what I see as a common challenge, which is we're just guessing. We're not, well, we need more leads.
Mm-hmm.
Let's turn this in. Well, we don't have sales. Let's turn the sales director over. Or well, what do we need to do? Well, and we're discussing, let's increase our digital marketing. Let's, we need to do outreach. We need to do outreach.
Yeah.
And all of those are pieces or components that how my mind works is being more precise, identifying more precisely and accurately the gap and what's causing the gap, and then working on that. That is my area of passion, and
Yeah.
along with the people side of it, helping to grow, no pun intended, to help grow others
Sure.
in their profession.
Yeah. And you mentioned your passion, and I think that's obvious, seeing you speak and seeing you interact with others, and how this community, like, seeks your input, and that everyone goes to you for your knowledge. And it's obvious that you're definitely a leader in this space. Did you see, I don't think 2021 is just a time frame where you're like, let's try this. I'm sure it was just after
Oh,
going through COVID, there was a specific point where you knew things were changing rapidly. And I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'd love to get your feedback, but I imagine you saw things were changing so fast that you felt like you could really add to what's happening and help others really develop the right playbook to manage this moving time, because so much was changing in 2020 and
mhm.
2021, and I'm sure you saw that continue to speed up. Is that the reason you really started Grow Your Occupancy, is because you felt like you could make a bigger difference from a larger level? What
Yeah.
Give me some input on that front, because I like to transition that into the books have you written, if that's okay with you.
No, you said it way better than I did, very succinctly. Yes, I love the being a VP of sales. I love being a CMO, and I should say I wanted to translate that to a bigger platform,
Yeah.
to have challenge myself to stand on a bigger stage, if you will. So make
Yeah.
a potentially a bigger impact, because I am so passionate. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, Larry, because I don't, but I do know, based on experience and being able to worked with thousands of people, thousands, what works, what doesn't work. And I continue to have this privilege. And I also formed the company the way that I did to align with my other passion, because I didn't want to do it by myself. It's really
Mhm.
lonely. Being an entrepreneur, it's very lonely. And I knew I could only do so much being just me. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to bring others on and help grow them, because my ultimate goal is to give all the jobs away,
Yeah.
including my job. I want to help grow people. Coaching is like my favorite thing to do. Spend a lot of time doing it in each position, and I continue to do that, because watching others get what they want or go where they want to go, that's
Mhm.
really
I
the
can sense
fuel.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can sense that with you, and the way you light up when you connect with others, and the way you seek to get information from others. And I've seen that firsthand, just again being at the handful of conferences and some of the conversations I've been able to be a part of. And I deeply appreciate that. I think about going back to 2021 when you founded Grow Your Occupancy.
Mhm.
What, like, I know things changed drastically between when you were at Vitality Living and then when you started Grow Your Occupancy and then wrote the book, but that, your initial book. But what changes have you seen over the last 4 years? In
Oh,
terms of how is that speeding up? Because I imagine, like, where we
yeah.
were in 2021, it was a shift, and then I'm sure there's another shift that you've seen in the last 4 years, and I didn't know if you can go into a little bit more of that.
I would say, I don't know if it's less than a shift, but more of an escalation, almost the
Mm,
avalanche of challenges, right? So we took what was already really tough. Okay, it's selling senior living, even operating. We're the people who are in this business, professionals who are in this business, operators, owners, investors. it's a great business to be in, and it's a
Hmm.
profitable business. It's a great business. Why investors were still looking, continue to, of course, the growth, the silver tsunami, and all that. But
Yeah.
it is challenging. It's a challenging business because it's you're caring for the well-being, right, of individuals, and it's complex and it's logistical, it's complex in the emotional, it's so emotional, and the logistics and the emotions combined. Selling senior living is hard.
Yeah.
Then we get COVID. It took what was already really, really tough. It's like the Simone Biles. When Simone Biles came onto gymnastics and started doing things that were humanly impossible. Like
Sure.
people, I don't, people's like, people can't do this. And now she starts doing them. So
Yeah.
she took gymnastics, which is already impossible. And now she's taken it to these next levels. That's what
Hmm.
COVID did. It took what was
Yeah.
already tough and made it even harder. And from that point, that was like the avalanche that started this difficulty. We economic uncertainty, and we have greater competition, and we have those things really. So
Hmm.
it's the fear. There's so much fear, and maybe it boils. There's a long rambling way layer of me to say fear.
And I feel like one thing that changed during that was the marketing side,
I was
because you have,
Yep.
I feel like in a unique way, if COVID, really made everyone kind of get on the same level when it comes to digital awareness or how to communicate through digital means. It really sped that up, and so it really changed how we're
Yeah.
communicating, both with the senior living seekers as well as the adult child decision makers. But then with that, I think about the sales side. That changed a lot as well, I assume. And so how to connect with people through those phases, uh, has changed and continues to change. I've seen just in the last 2 years the evolution, and it's just getting faster and faster. So that kind of brings me to, when you wrote resolving resolving the occupancy puzzle. Is that why you wrote, you really added to the book, was because of this ongoing change and ongoing evolution when it comes to all things senior living marketing and sales?
Yes, yes. I've heard this, and it for me is very true. As soon
Mhm.
as you finish the book, it like I it's like, okay, now here's all the things I want to change about it, or here's what I want to edit, or this is what I
Yeah.
want to add, or oh, you know what, I want to this. So I didn't title it something different because the concepts, a lot of it is the core content. This is
Okay.
the core fundamentals of great salesmanship don't change.
Mhm.
What changes are like I added components more specific to leading a business, also more specific to leading sales from an ED standpoint, and speak a little bit more to the sales director and the outreach piece. So, yeah, I think it's that continuous, like a quest for continuous learning. Like I
Mm.
love to learn. To me, I wake up every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, like truly, it sounds. I don't know if it sounds hokey, but it is like, okay, what am I learning today? Or I wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh, this is a gap. And I was telling a client
Yeah.
last week, Larry, I realized a gap in our infrastructure at Grow Your Occupancy because I fell into it last week. I
Mm.
fell into a hole. I'm like, oh, we have this hole in our business, and so it was an operations system workflow thing, right?
Sure.
You don't know that, right? So we continue to. I hope that we are aware enough of the business and the industry,
Mhm.
right? When we're falling into these holes, that okay, here's an area where we really need to improve. From a digital side too, I did want to piggyback on what you said. 100%
Mhm.
people kind of got on the same page and got
Sure.
more aware of that. And there's challenges. The digital world continues to present a lot of challenges too, right? Because those who run that side, we always want to stay one step ahead of us as far as what we can and can't do from from a lead gen standpoint. So it's a lot. It's
It
a
is
lot.
a lot. Yeah, and I bring this up a lot, which is there's so many moving parts, and
Yeah.
it's hard to kind of jump in and there's not a clear-cut answer. There's so many
Mm-mm.
factors that go into what we do when it comes to senior living sales and marketing. Taking a step back on with your book, just for everyone to be on the same page, like, who did you write this book for? Is it just salespeople? Is it marketing? What who should go on Amazon and get this book?
Well, I would think anyone who is all sales,
Okay.
sales
Yes.
leadership, and leadership. Is it running a business? No matter what your job is, what your job title, you're managing a business, and the
Okay.
and the infrastructure, the components, the puzzle pieces that build a strong infrastructure of the business are relatively the same, whether you're a community sales counselor, sales director, a CEO. The components are they align. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe a little more complex, maybe a few more categories, but essentially. And the original book was written for regional area and regional divisional directors, specifically Larry, because from my experience, that's where I saw the biggest gap in any kind of infrastructure, any kind of training, coaching.
Mm.
You take these sales directors who are successful at the community level and put them in these advanced roles. And it's no fault of anyone. You're in a whirlwind, don't have time, and the time that it takes and the commitment that it takes to coach another person there's no set amount of time, but it's a commitment. There's a time, a more time, I think, than
Mhm.
what any one person really has, right?
Sure.
In their compared to, all the in adding everything else, right? That needs to happen. As a VP of sales, a CMO, I know I did it. I've been guilty of it. You hire someone, you're like, okay, and then you mean to get to them, and then it's 30 days later, it's 45 days
Yeah.
later, right?
Yeah.
So originally it was regional, and then I added sales and executive directors here because for 20 years we've said EDs and operators need to live in a sales focused culture, and that's true, but sales really is a part of the overall operations culture.
Mhm. Yeah.
So your EDs, your RDOs, COs, they are running the business. Well, you're an entrepreneur. If you don't have a business if you don't have sales.
For sure. Where do you see that alignment typically breaking down when it comes
Oh,
from the sales and operators or sales and marketing or marketing operations? Like,
oh,
yeah,
but
is there a common theme that you found is, there's a breakdown at this point or a
a
common
breakdown
theme?
at as far as why or at what level?
I would say, why more than anything else, which is there a common theme of, when groups are not aligned? Do you have any feedback on that front of helping get people onto the same page? And that's going to like just the
Sure.
overall theme of, if you can, solve this part, that's going to help. And understand that doesn't solve the whole problem, but that gets you that one step closer. I didn't know if there's that one common issue that you continue to run across.
That's a great question. Like you said, there's no for this complex of a challenge. There's no one answer. But since you put me on the spot here, I'm gonna pinpoint. I would
Okay.
say universally, it's empathy and understanding, and also the let's say buy-in or the ownership of each role in an organization. So think of that flywheel, right? The flywheel. So the business, so let's take the community level, right? At the community
Mhm.
level, the executive director is running a business. All right. And you don't have a business without sales. So what that sales comes to the table with a certain set of skills, a certain maybe temperament, a certain maybe way of
Sure.
coaching, or their goals, or they should be driven. You want a driver in there. In our role, maybe I'll break it down to say this, Larry. Sales responsibility of the role is to say yes, and operations is to say no. Therein lies the rub, and we're uncomfortable with the rub,
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of appreciating the rub for what it is, we get upset about it, we avoid it, we get mad, and we either ignore it or we turn over or we let it disintegrate.
Yeah.
How's that for one universal challenge?
No, it is. It's. I feel like when it's all said and done, the over communicating and getting everybody in the same room. And connecting with Evan Cole recently, he was talking about just the challenges of sales and operations, and making sure that everybody's aligned at the starting point, and make sure we continue to stay aligned, because it's not just about that initial sale, but it's also for ongoing resident satisfaction. And so it's really important that sales and operations are always aligned. But then I think about the marketing side. I feel like marketing and sales continue to work closely together, of what they're hearing, what's going on, and how do you really set an infrastructure where marketing and sales are also aligned. So I feel like it's different components trying to all come together. And I do appreciate that about your book, which is, like you said, it's not just for salespeople, it's for the operation side. And I think it's good for marketing to read it as well, because I think to get everybody on the same page, I think that's more important than ever, to make sure everybody's walks in unison. I mentioned the alignment with sales and operations. What about sales and marketing? Do you have any advice for groups who are trying to make sure that sales and marketing are on the same page?
Yeah. First define what the page is.
Yeah.
So and then secondly, empathy around the role, right? So my responsibility, right? What is my responsibility, the role's responsibility, and how does that then contribute to the ultimate goal?
Mm-hmm.
So for sales and marketing, it's the communication around what's marketing's role, what's sales role, communication, and look at the outcome. So to better identify how to solve the gap, you have to know the outcome. You've got to identify the gap, restate it,
Mm-hmm.
and then work through. Okay, let's talk about. Take another part of this too, and this is with any, I think, more than one person, anyone at the table, 2, 3, however many more, is take defenses down.
That's really important.
Take the emotion out of it and look at the gap, right? This isn't an attack on anyone. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's here where leads that are coming in are financially not qualified. And here's the data. And it looks like it's coming primarily from our paid sources. Does not mean, Larry, you're a horrible person and you don't know what you're doing. It just means here's data, and make sure you've got the data. It's the same with operations. Sales is that, let me give you another example. Take the defenses down. Sales, a common challenges that I hear from a sales perspective is the time it takes to have a response to get an assessment. It could be experience. Another one is experience in dining. It could be the cleanliness issue, but it's a block. It's a block to sales.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to the table with not, hey, how come it's taking you so long to, or Larry's not answering my calls to do an assessment. Is like one of the challenges is in stating it. Then operations, okay, what we see very commonly, and I'm not sure why, is the operator, the ED, sides with the op side, sides with the reasons that it's taking long, or the reasons we don't know. We have, instead of operating as a collective, it feels sided.
Sure. It's like you're picking teams. Like, we're the operations team. This is the sales team. One thing that I've gone back to a lot is my conversation with Brandon and Jesse, Brandon Christensen and Jesse Weldon with Primrose. And in that conversation, they both agreed, you really got to just check your ego. And don't think
Yes.
about it in your lens, but let's just take a honest assessment of what's working, what's not, and let's just carve out from there and just get on, like you said, get on the same page. Like, what does and like you said, it's what does that page look like? But I think just the
Right.
numbers and just the awareness of that, and I think it's easier said than done because we invest so much time and effort in what we do that we do want to say, no, this is why I did this, and this is why it's it's meaningful. And
Exactly.
everybody comes to that place. And I
Mhm.
think it's really important just to all pull
Yeah.
together and have an honest assessment without pointing fingers, because we have to that acknowledgement of, hey, things are moving fast, like there's no perfect answers. Let's pull together and see how we can improve the process.
Yeah. Brandon and Jesse were a great example of sales and marketing working in alignment and ego checking. You mentioned ego checking.
Hmm.
It, like I said, there's no emotion around data. You know, you're this, here are the facts.
Yeah.
The sales are below benchmark. Oh, well, I didn't in this, and well,
Yeah.
this is a fact. So let's look at
Yes.
how does it look moving forward. Let's help solve the problem. In I try to provide as much, Larry, as many tools in the book, practical tools possible, from a communication and leadership standpoint, like even questions to ask
Mm.
and how to ask those questions in such a way that it's not person centric. Why are you behind on your sales, Larry? It different than, hey, let's take a look. Looks like sales are behind benchmark.
Yeah. You don't have to call out the
Totally different thing.
person, just the activity and how to improve that activity, not the person's performance.
Or coming, yeah, because ultimately it might be, but it makes the outcome, right?
Sure.
It's come how the topic is approached
Mhm.
may help keep the defense down
Sure.
because it's not an attack
Yeah.
on dining. We know dining is terribly, it could be the dishwasher's broken. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just telling you
Yeah.
what a gap is. The gap is, we had a tour and they ate lunch and it was on paper plates. And that
Yeah.
wasn't a great experience. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just telling you what the experience was, and they were disappointed. It
Yeah.
wasn't our best foot forward. How do we improve on that? And aren't we
And
all on the same page that we want our guests to
yeah,
have great experiences?
for sure.
Yeah.
And to improve on something, you have to identify it first.
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
let me go back to the sales side, because it's so easy getting into, the other areas. Like you said, it's all connected. But
Yeah.
do you have any advice on how organizations can identify gaps in the sales process? Do you have any feedback on that front?
Sure. Of course.
Of course.
First of all, have a process.
Okay.
Establish a process, establish a workflow, make it as simple as possible. You can even have a one sheet here from a sales perspective. Here are the expectations. Here are the benchmarks, activity, conversions, outcomes, and boom, here it is. And you can measure activity to goal or expectations, your outcome to expectation to
Sure.
outcome, and then actual to goal. Know what you're measuring, right? Keep it as simple as possible. I'd love every company should have a playbook, and that's comprehensive,
Hmm.
simple but comprehensive. But start somewhere and measure frequently. Okay, so here's where it kind of breaks down. A simple map of, all right, if lead connection is low, is under benchmark, here are the fixes for it. If inquiry or connection to tours low, here are the things to check. Here are the areas. That's what the puzzle book does for
Hmm.
you, which you've got to know what area you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
It's easy to get caught up in all of the noise.
yes, because like you said, there's so many.
There is,
That's why
yes.
we're
And
reactive.
it's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected, and we typically react or respond or analyze based on the most recent. So
Yes.
you're going to say, hey, Larry, how come your conversions are low, or how come your deposits are low? You'll respond specifically to a tour that just happened. Meaning, oh,
Hmm.
well, people can't afford it, or, oh, well, people are disappointed at this, or, oh, they're just waiting. Instead of stopping, that's a great question. Let's look at some data.
Yeah.
And then how do you fix it?
Yeah.
That's
That's
the other part,
that's
right?
the next step. But I think
Right.
like what I'm hearing is like it's just taking those bite-sized
Yeah,
steps. Don't try to boil the ocean. Just take those bite-sized steps,
yeah.
steps, and just be intentional with these processes. And we mentioned data. I feel far too often we're drowning in data. We have so much data that we can connect and tie those pieces together. Do you have any specific KPIs that marketing and sales leaders should be focusing on? Is there like that one thing, start here and work your way out to the other conversion points?
Sure. Well, from a sales perspective, the number one thing, know your opportunity to sale.
Okay.
Opportunities are tours, unique opportunities in a given, let's say, month. So
Yeah.
one person tours 3 times, that's one opportunity. If they toured first in January and then they toured again in June, it's an opportunity in June. So you need to know your opportunity to close ratio, right? And then, okay, if I need 6 move-ins and I'm converting at 1 out of 3, I need 18 opportunities this
Mm.
month. And
Yeah.
I will over time, meaning in any trend, I will get 5 to 7, about 6 move-ins. That's the first thing to focus on, unique opportunities. One thing to CRMs out there, and CRMs attract new lead.
Yeah.
They do new lead tour to deposit, and then they'll do worked leads. Work leads, even if I send you an email, it's a work lead. It's got to be opportunities, overall opportunities. That's number one. And
And
it's so
that's gold, by the
simple.
way. I appreciate you sharing that. That's really good insight.
It's because work lead, shoot, I could do a bulk email and I've worked a
Yeah.
350 leads. So that really skews the conversion there. The Some CRMs can track a little bit, maybe more opportunity, but really no. And I advise, because it's so simple and it's the most important, put it on your whiteboard.
Hmm.
We need 18 tours. Oh, we did 3. Great. We need 15. Just
Yeah.
keep that. And you'd be amazed at how many people don't know and don't track. So keep track of that. And another is very simple: in, out, net, on census, off census, net. Okay, for EDs, how many came on, how many came off this month, what was your net, and what is the variance to the goal. The number of calls and all those things, that you certainly want to have some type of an activity benchmark, but it's really around the tours. For marketing, of course, it's cost. Really, you want to know your cost per lead, cost per move-in. That's important. The most important is the cost
Okay.
per move-in, so that you track your campaigns accurately and you can budget. It's like, oh, we need to do more digital. We need to put more money. We need better exposure. We need this, we need that. Maybe, likely, but why? Why
Hmm.
would you spend more money if you're like, oh, we need to do events. We need to do events. We need events. You've got to track ROI, cost for the event, what's a trending move. So know your cost per lead, cost per move-in. And then that from a marketing perspective. From a sales perspective, you want to know the tour
Mhm.
opportunities. And then the second thing is to know your lead source, to move in, right?
Okay.
Where are your move-ins coming from,
Sure.
right? We talk about lead source
Hmm.
analysis. That's important. Move-in source analysis,
Mm.
right? So
That's really good insight because far too often we keep going back to the same thing and we really need to break that down a little further.
and there's, like you said, you can drown in data.
Hmm.
And so I'm a data geek, and you can analyze. Sometimes too much is too much. Keep it as simple as possible and track and track.
Yeah.
Some of this, I'm going on a tangent, but I think
No, please.
sometimes we get bored. I think we get bored, we distracted. It's like, really? We have
Yeah.
to do, your daughters are in sports, right?
Yes.
And I don't know a whole lot about sports, but like what sport is Hazel?
Lola, so I got both of them play tennis.
Tennis.
Both
Okay.
Hazel and Lola both play tennis.
Tennis. All right.
Yes.
I'm guessing they do a whole lot of practice and there's certain drills that they do playing tennis. Now, I don't know what
Yes.
those are. To me, tennis, you're hitting the ball over there. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they don't just jump in and play the games. The hours and hours and hours of practice. And it's like, really? We got to do that again? Yeah, you got to do that again. And
that's what professionals do. It's.
exactly.
I was thinking about. I've seen this before, where you're mentioning sports, and I always loved basketball. Lola played basketball for a while, and the importance of always going back to the basics. And you
Yeah.
see, like we went to a Memphis Grizzlies game, and you see warm-ups. They're working on these shots from a few feet out. They work out, a 6 foot, then 10 foot, and they work that and so these professionals go and work the fundamentals. And like you said, I think sometimes we become complacent in what we're doing, and to have that mindset of, okay, how can we improve this? What is the data saying? Now, I feel like on the flip side, on the marketing side of this, it's hard to find that balance of being responsive to the data, but not overreacting to the
Yes.
data. And I
Oh,
think that's a new challenge we're kind of faced with. And that being said, I kind of want to take it a different direction, which is in the sales leadership. Because I'm going to take it two different ways. How often should sales leadership connect with their team and discuss some of these data points and speak with them? And then, do you have any advice on how often should sales leadership connect with marketing to talk about the same things and just make sure everybody's on the same page? Is this with the sales team, with sales leadership, sales team, is it a weekly conversation? How do you keep everybody marching in the same goal? What's that frequency of meetings?
Oh, wow.
Do you have another 30 minutes for
Yeah,
that?
boy, it can how often sales
Yeah.
leadership, depends on when you say leadership,
Hmm.
right? Depends on the relationship,
Okay.
meaning that like an executive director should be in meeting, like a formal meeting or a touch, weekly, once a
Okay.
week. And you look at the data. They should be looking though. I do ED as sales leader training, and
Hmm.
I have when you have 2 minutes a day, everybody, no ED should say to their boss, sorry, I didn't have 2 minutes. Here's what to check. Two
Sure.
minutes a day, right? And then I have a 5 minutes a day, and I have a 10 minutes a day. So 2 minutes a day, you look at these things and every single day so that you're staying on track to the most important KPIs so that things don't slip. I mean, senior leadership, monthly,
Okay.
like that monthly, but have a system and a process. It's not like, hey, how's it going today? How's it going? What are your, what can we do to support you? That's a wonderful question. Most people don't know how to answer that. So I think it's in the quality of the questions. I think you need to look at the data, look at the outcome, and know the person, understand their skills, have coaching. Coaching should be more regular. The
Yeah.
meetings, I guess it's a
That's a
real
good response. I love that. Coaching is different than
totally.
yeah.
Totally. Sales calls, these weekly, coaches
Hmm.
that they're what I find to be, and not to be critical, because there's a lot of whirlwinds happening in everyone's life, but it tend to be regurgitation of things that you can already see. So come to the call. I would tell, my advice is to as well look first, and you say, okay, so what I'm seeing is, or let's take a look at, so the call can be in response to truly solving, or maybe we don't solve the problem today, but we're looking at the last 5 tours, or we're looking at loss reasons, or you're looking at conversion, look at trends, right? Instead of saying, hey, let's talk about your hottest to close. And then I'm going to tell you, then I'm going to tell the next person, and the salesperson spends a lot of time each week saying the same thing to different groups of people,
Yeah.
which is in the CRM
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
And then making sure that everybody's on the same page so you can make those meetings impactful instead of meeting
Yes.
just to meet. And so everybody's on the same page going into the meeting, and really separate what those meetings are for. Is it check-ins to make sure everybody's aligned
Yes.
on what the data is? But then there's a different meeting for coaching, which I'm sure more on that junior salesperson, they need more coaching and really pull in those emotional aspects as well. It's not just about data, but you're really tying some of these emotional connecting points and how to navigate those waters as well. So I appreciate you again. I feel like everything you're saying, which is just breaking things down and being intentional about those next steps. And I really appreciate all of that.
Knowing the objective, you talk about being on the same page.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's like the objective. So today's objective, and maybe the objective is, let's go through the data together, or the objective is identifying a gap, or the objective is reading through stuff with the investor, so that when people are coming to the call, what is the objective? It's not just a weekly review of things that are already in the CRM.
Sure.
That now I have to write on another report.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. I think that's really good feedback and direction. We're so busy the daily request and what we're working on, that it's easy to miss some of this and assume. I think we make the mistake of assuming on all sides. Going back to your book, Resolving the Occupancy Puzzle, is it for all levels of sales?
Yes. First, it was about the solving is a little bit more for regionals to look on the business of their region. But then, I heard from people that weren't even in senior living, Larry. They said, "Oh, I bought it, and a leadership book, and that means so much to me." So that I then tweaked it a bit. The concepts of this are the same. When you're, like I mentioned, no matter what level of sales or level of leadership, you're looking on the business. And the name of my company is Grow Your Occupancy, and that occupancy is the outcome of sales and operations. They have to work together. Sales, we have to be very careful. Sales responsibility is sales and move-ins. So when we hold sales accountable for occupancy, that's not fair. And boy, have I gone to bat when I was an operator as well. You could have 10 outs, right, this month. That is not sales responsibility. Now, does sales need to be aware of that? And that's going to affect it? Sure. But occupancy ultimately is everybody at the table, everybody, environmental services, dining, engagement, in finance, operations, wellness, right? Sales, marketing. We're all come from
everybody.
Our own perspectives. For in the center of the table there, or the middle of the Ferris wheel, boom, that's occupancy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And one of the reasons I asked that question, because I have a big question for you, which is when I went on to Amazon to buy my copy, I saw a workbook. And before I let you go, I wanted to see if you can highlight that workbook and how that plays into your other materials that you provide for senior living, for the senior living communities out there.
Larry, thanks for asking. I think I have a copy right here too. The workbook is designed to be hands-on, truly a workbook, a tool for community sales directors and EDs and anyone who supports sales, really from a community perspective, to log and track and be aware of their own sales as it relates to the community level.
That's great.
Quick story. I just heard from a woman who sales director I admire a lot. She's grown from 0 to 100% occupancy 99%, it's 100%.
Yeah.
And she continues to challenge herself, and she is already really, really, really good. And she bought the book, and she literally, so the only person she texts me, and she, at each of these stages, and then sent me her progress, because it really is to be be hyper aware enough to the whole book all at once, but I'm going to really look at my lead to connection ratio this month or this quarter, and this is what I'm really going to track, because we know by psychology shows us in years of all the data that when whatever it is we're aware of and what we track, that's where we're going to get where we're going to have gain. Like, for instance, my husband, Jim the Gem, he bought an app that tracks not just walking in steps, but he's actually walking. I'm going to oversimplify this, but the Lord of the Rings, for those Lord of the Rings fans, I don't know anything about any of it, but he's walking he's walking across New Zealand or whatever and he's in Middle Earth, and he's over here and he's over here. And it's essentially, it's a mental, yay. And they get some literal medal in the mail. Now he's an adult, he can walk, he can track, but it's just makes it fun. And it's super highly, oh my gosh, I'm 3/4 of the way through wherever he is now, right? And it's fun. So whatever we track, we're tracking water, we're tracking this. So that's what the book was meant to be, a tool to help individual salespeople at the community level know their business and track it. And
that's
and
great.
Improve.
Because you can only improve what you track. You need a map. You can't. I always think about it, if you just got in your car and started driving, you wouldn't know where you're going. You need to know where you're going. What are the points along the way, so you can see, am I halfway there? Do I need to speed up? Do I need to slow down? I think about it in those terms. And to that point, I would say it's not even a workbook. It's a playbook. You need to understand, what's that playbook telling you, and how are you going to win? So, Julie, I've taken so much of your time. I really, really appreciate you just taking time to have this conversation. One thing I want to also note, I found this really helpful, is when I went to buy your book, I noticed that on Amazon, you have it's a link that if you click on Julie's name, it will show you all of her books. So if you want to get encompass all of the materials that Julie has, go to Amazon. I'll put that in the show notes. So in case anybody's looking for that, Julie, last question to you, actually 2 more questions. What's your last bit of advice for anyone who's in the marketing and sales and within senior living? What's that takeaway? I'm giving you the microphone. Just say, Julie, what's your advice to all of those who are listening today?
Oh my gosh. Take defenses down. Take the ego out. Know you're really great already. And make a decision to say improve.
Yeah.
So then that's the first thing. And then look at your business ask somebody else to look on it and pick one thing, one area, and track.
Yeah.
But first you have to decide to actually do it.
I love that. I feel like so much you said today is just be intentional and start. Just start. Yeah. Just start small. Just continue to push forward every day. Know what you're doing. Keep moving that ball down the field. So, all right. And here's my second question, which is the most important question. Where can people find you if they want to learn more, Julie? Whether it's about Grow Your Occupancy, your books, any time you're speaking, where can people find out, how to learn more about the work you're doing?
Well, Larry, I really appreciate you having me on. I hope that the conversation helps other people. GrowYourOccupancy.com. The books, like you mentioned, are on Amazon. We have an online training library.
Oh, nice.
We really want to make training and coaching and support accessible to all. And if you get the book, there's QR codes. It goes right to the library for special rates and all those things. So that the website, GrowYourOccupancy.com. And that will, and follow us please on social media, LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. We put out content daily.
That's great. Well, I would say this, you have such a strong and great reputation amongst senior living marketing and sales, and anybody who's worked with you and your team have had incredible results. I've heard it firsthand. There's nothing in it for me, but I just want to let you know your reputation just precedes you. And thank you for what all you do for so many people.
That means everything to me. I really cannot tell you how much I appreciate and how much I appreciate everybody that we work with, my team, and also just everyone that works in senior living. It's not
Yeah.
hyperbole. It really is. That means absolutely everything. And Larry, I do remember for meeting you in Georgia, and what I admire about you is your relentless pursuit of learning and continued improvement. Absolutely love it. And you're a really great person, which
Thank you.
the industry is certainly embraces.
Well, it's so many great people in this industry. I feel very fortunate to be part of it and just be part of this great collection of minds and just a group who say we can do better. Okay, this is good. We can do better. Let's pull together and let's do better. And I love that. I've not found that anywhere else, and I'm just soaking it all up. But it's leaders like you. I can name so many others who've their willingness to have conversations with me. Even when I first got into this, it's like, here, let me talk to you. Let me tell you about what we're doing in it, why this is important. So again, the leadership in the space, I'll always be forever grateful. So thank you again. And looking forward to seeing you at the next event.
Thanks, Larry.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Move-In Senior Living Marketing. A huge thanks to Julie Podewitz for joining me and sharing her wisdom on what it really takes to grow your occupancy in today's senior living landscape. Before we go, I want to share 3 things I took notes of during today's conversation with Julie. First, track what truly matters. Start measuring the KPIs that give you clarity, like your tour to move-in ratio, cost per move-in, and where your move-ins are really coming from. Second, establish a simple, repeatable sales process. Don't overcomplicate it. Build a clear sales infrastructure. Write it down and train your team to follow it every time. And finally, coach weekly with purpose, not just reports. Go beyond reporting. Use weekly touch points to identify trends, coach with intention, and help your team grow one improvement at a time. Whether you're in sales, marketing, or operations, I hope this episode gave you a fresh perspective and a few tools to sharpen your team's approach. Thanks again to Julie, and until next time, let's go make some meaningful connections.